What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel and thanks so much for joining me today for a video that's going to be all about eyeshadow palettes, talking about them, swatching them, and most that I'm going to talk about here today, I haven't seen a whole lot of love or even mention about here on YouTube. So whether you're in the market for a palette, you think your collection needs a little something, or if you just, you're not, you really just are in the mood for some swatches, which I know a lot of you guys are like always down for some eyeshadow swatches, that's what we're going to be doing here today. So why are we wasting time? Let's get started. First, I want to talk about the newest palette to me, and the newest launch among those I'm going to talk about. That is the Viseart Paris Love Letter palette. The brand sent this to me, by the way. In fact, all of the brands of the palettes I'm going to be talking about here today sent these palettes to me, but this is just the newest arrival, and like I said, the latest launch. It is inspired by soft, pastel, dainty, springtime shades. So you can kind of see right off the bat, it is very nude forward, but with subtle pops of color in there. A nice soft lime green, a little lilac, a matte peach shade over here, but for the most part, it offers up a kind of a narrow spectrum of nudes. And I say narrow because we have the deepest shade up here in the corner, which I've done 2 looks with this palette so far, and in using that deepest shade to deepen up my outer corner, it definitely accomplished the job, but it didn't quite get as deep as I would have hoped for being the deepest shade in this palette. Meanwhile, I found that a lot of these light nudes over here practically accomplish the same thing when I use them on my eyes. Like I was using many of them interchangeably in my crease, brow bone, lid, things like that, just because although you can absolutely tell a difference in the palette, practically speaking, they looked and functioned very, very similarly to me, which, if you love those shades, not going to be a big deal. But as far as having some more dramatic contrast in here, which you know is one of the #1 things I love about an eyeshadow palette, there isn't a whole lot of that in here, but then again, there's not supposed to be. It's a soft, springtime, pastel-y, watercolor themed kind of palette. You get 6 matte shades, 6 kind of metallic-y, shimmery shades, and the shimmers are, all of the formulas are up to Viseart standard, so they're phenomenal. But I really love the way they did the shimmery shades in here. They're just ultra reflective. Those, like the green and the lilac, are true to the color in the pan. They don't kind of dilute across the lid and just kind of become a frosty shade without much color to it across the lid. You can build them to be the color that you see here in the pan, which is great. It's just, if you want to play with colors and you're not all that comfortable with it, this would be a great palette for you. But if you're wanting something that offers more bold springtime colors and more contrast, this is probably not the palette for you. But it is still beautiful nonetheless. And it comes in their I love this packaging from them. They just do some really great compact cardboard, like very travel or storage friendly packaging. It's cardboard on the outside, has a magnetic closure, and a decently sized mirror you can see on the inside here. And then all of these pans are removable. So say you hate the packaging, because I know cardboard isn't everyone's favorite, you can take these pans out and put them in your own freeform palette, or if you have multiples, like different kinds of these palettes from them, you can mix and match and, put pans from is it the dark mattes that has the rich gem tones, pop some of those, replace these in here and create your own contrast in this palette and give yourself a little bit more flexibility. Now let's talk about 2 eyeshadow palettes from Kokie Cosmetics. First, let's talk about the Peachy Queen palette. So this one, despite, in my opinion, not being all that peachy, save for like this bold orangey peach shade here, and then 2 shimmers they have that are like soft peachy gold shifty shades. This to me comes off as more of a berry toned palette with like pink toned light nudes, even more bricky, deeper red shades down here. The undertones here are not orange, they are red. But either way, this is between the 2 of these, the one that I thought was going to be my favorite, because I love a good berry shade. I just find them so fun and flattering. And that is the case. These eyeshadows are beautiful. What I found though is they are a little redundant, kind of like that Viseart palette. You can see just by looking at this palette, they're practically speaking some duplicates. There are about 4 nude shades in here, at least pairs of them that are pretty interchangeable. I don't think you need each of them in the palette. Same with the soft, shimmery, peachy gold shades in there. Those are very similar to each other. And even these matte berry shades, there's very subtle differences to where when I actually applied them to my eye, they were almost identical. And so basically, I kind of think you could cut this palette in half, eliminate almost half of these shades, and still get almost the exact same palette, which isn't awful if you love the shades, but I do love to see more variety in my palettes, especially when there are so many berry palettes out there at this point. So this is a really nice one, but it turns out not my favorite. What is my favorite and what is I'm wearing on my eyes today is the Treasured palette. And this one, I didn't think I was gonna like simply because the colors that showed brightest to me when I first opened this up were the blues and the yellow gold. And I just thought, that's not gonna flatter me. I don't find that bold blue shades flatter my skin, my undertone, anything like that, so I tend to shy away from them. But once I started using it, it's actually my favorite palette out of any of those that I'm going to talk about today. So this is also a fun one because there are 4 matte shades in here, the 3 down here at the bottom, and then this brick red up here in the corner, and the rest are like ultra high shine metallic shades, which, because they're done well, I think that's part of what makes this palette for me. I love a good metallic eyeshadow. I think it's a really simple, easy way to elevate an eye look because you don't have sort of chunky sparkles on your eye or anywhere. It's just this super smooth, you know, satiny if you don't layer it up, or full on metallic if you do layer it up or foil it, and this palette gives you that sort of versatility. So I gotta say, I did not think this was gonna go as well for me as it did, but here I stand today wearing the bold blue on the outer corners of my eyes. And I love it. So don't sleep on this, especially because it's a mixture. Maybe that's the other thing that kind of threw me. There are a mixture of warm and cool shades, right? You have a cool green, all these blues, but then you also have warm brick reds and coppers up here, like, and the gold. I kind of, it was confusing, but just give it some time and it will prove to you how good it is. And now my last 2 palettes are from Pop Beauty, and this is a brand where not a lot of people they've been around for quite some time now, and yet I don't feel like it has a whole lot of momentum, at least here on YouTube, in terms of people mentioning it a lot or using it a lot, but they are making some pretty good stuff. I talked about one of their palettes in a video all about eyeshadow palettes I did a while back that I can link down below if you want more of this format. But part of what I love about them is they are really starting to include a wide mixture of textures, including glitters. So let's take this palette, for example. This is the Light Show palette in Slay. I'm sure you can imagine, after what I just went on and on about the blues, this is not a palette that I reach for a whole lot. Although it does have the purples to balance it out, but it's just, this is not my comfort zone, and as far as eyeshadow undertones and colors goes. But inside here, you have 4 matte shades, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shimmery shades. This black is like a matte base with a glitter throughout, and then you have 2 glitter shades, like they are actual glitters suspended in sort of a cream gel base. And they're really beautiful, finely milled, complex glitters too. I am categorizing this little tiger stripe one up here. They've done that in a few palettes as well, and I do love the effect it gives in the pan. Like, it just visually, differentiates an eyeshadow palette to me. In reality, when you use it, it all gets swirled together and it ends up being like, sort of like this one, but with a pink undertone to it, like a soft shimmery white with a pink undertone. But in the end, you get quite a few textures to play within here. Like, this is the kind of contrast and variety that I was looking for out of something like the Peachy Keen palette or even the Viseart palette. You know, this, even though it's not my favorite color scheme, is something that I can get behind, which is why I think between the 2 of these, I prefer the warmer version. This is called the Fire Fit palette. And so just like the other one, you can see here, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, again, 4 matte shades, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shimmery shades. One of these is like almost a metallic shade, and then 2, again, glitter. They're like finely milled glitter suspended in a clear gel or cream. And this just says summer in a palette to me, especially with that beautiful matte yellow, which is a good yellow. Those can be hard to come by. This is a good one. All of these shades are really nice. So yeah, these are for the bolder color lovers, although you could certainly play many of these shades down and just use the more colorful shades as accents. But like I was saying before, if you like the idea of the Viseart palette, but you're looking for more in-your-face spring shades, maybe this is something closer to what you're looking for. Or even the Treasured palette, because it also has the lime green and the beautiful blues and things like that. So those are all the palettes that I have to talk about today. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about them, specifically seeing the swatches, since I know that's why we're all here. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. And besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.